You found your way to Whispers of Crimes, a quiet corner where the shadows of the past are gently told. Here, we speak of real crimes and mysteries, not to shock or scare, but to wonder, to reflect, and maybe to help you fall asleep. So close your eyes, let your thoughts slow down, and come with me into tonight's case. In the quiet hills of West Cork, a French filmmaker's dream retreat became the site of a brutal, unsolved murder. Sophie Toscan du Plantier was found beaten to death just days before. Christmas 1996, her killer never officially brought to justice. Was it a local journalist desperate for attention, or someone hiding in plain sight? Decades later, one man is convicted in France but walks free in Ireland. This is the haunting story of a woman silenced, and a mystery that still echoes through two nations. Chapter 1. A French woman in West Cork, Sophie Toscan du Plantier, was a 39-year-old French television producer, known for her work in documentary filmmaking. She was the wife of Daniel Toscan du Plantier, a powerful figure in the French cinema industry. Despite her glamorous Parisian life, Sophie longed for solitude and serenity, which she found in the windswept hills of Tourmore, near Shoal in West Cork, Ireland. She purchased a holiday home there in the early 1990s, using it as a peaceful retreat from her busy urban life. In December 1996, Sophie traveled alone to her Irish cottage to spend the holidays. It was supposed to be a few days of relaxation and creative thinking. Locals knew her as quiet but kind, someone who kept to herself yet was always polite in town. Few could have imagined that this isolated sanctuary would become the scene of one of Ireland's most haunting unsolved murders. Chapter 2. The Discovery and Initial Chaos. On the morning of December 23, 1996. Sophie's body was discovered near the gate of her home by a neighbor, Shirley Foster. Sophie was wearing only her nightclothes and boots. Her body was brutally beaten, her skull fractured in multiple places. A concrete block, believed to be the murder weapon, lay nearby, stained with blood and hair. The Gardaí faced immediate challenges. The crime scene had been contaminated by first responders and curious locals. No murder weapon was formally recovered, and no witnesses came forward. There were no signs of forced entry or theft, and nothing in her background hinted at enemies or threats. The remoteness of the house and lack of surveillance made the investigation incredibly difficult. Forensic evidence was scant. DNA analysis at the time was primitive, and most of the focus fell on interviewing the locals. One man, in particular, would soon become the center of intense media scrutiny and official suspicion. Chapter 3. Ian Bailey, Journalist or Killer? Ian Bailey, a British freelance journalist living in the area, quickly became the prime suspect. He was one of the first reporters on the scene and wrote extensively about the murder. Yet almost as quickly, rumors and allegations began to circulate about his potential involvement. Bailey was known for his eccentric, sometimes aggressive demeanor. He had a prior history of violence against his partner, Jules Thomas, and exhibited odd behavior such as allegedly boasting about his knowledge of the crime or claiming to have visited the scene before police arrived. Witnesses claimed he made cryptic remarks implicating himself, while others said they saw scratches on his arms in the days after the murder. Still, Bailey maintained his innocence, stating he had been at home on the night of the killing. The Gardaí interrogated him multiple times, even arresting him twice, but never formally charged him in Ireland due to insufficient evidence. As years passed, public opinion divided. Was Bailey a scapegoat targeted due to his nonconformist lifestyle? Or was he a narcissist who inserted himself into the investigation to manipulate the narrative? Chapter 4. Legal dead ends in Ireland. Despite years of suspicion, The Irish justice system repeatedly failed to build a solid case against Ian Bailey. The director of public prosecutions declined to pursue charges due to the lack of forensic evidence and the unreliability of witness statements. Several of the witnesses later recanted or were found to have been pressured by Gardaí. Bailey, in turn, sued several media outlets and the Gardaí for defamation and wrongful targeting. His legal battles spanned decades and added more controversy. Accusations of misconduct by investigators only muddied the waters further. A 2014 civil action brought by Bailey against the Irish police and state resulted in no liability being found. Yet, the trial exposed flaws in the original investigation ranging from witness coercion to lost evidence, and left the public wondering if the case had been irreparably compromised from the start. Chapter 5. The French prosecution and trial in absentia. In 2019, after years of campaigning by Sophie's family, particularly her son Pierre-Louis Baudivigno, France held its own trial. Ian Bailey, who had been living freely in Ireland, was tried in absentia in Paris. The French legal system allows prosecution of crimes committed abroad when the victim is a French citizen. The trial, which lasted 4 days, found Ian Bailey guilty of murder and sentenced him to 25 years in prison. The conviction relied heavily on the same circumstantial evidence dismissed in Ireland: alleged confessions, inconsistencies in Bailey's alibi, and behavioral evidence. Bailey denounced the trial as a kangaroo court and refused to attend. Ireland, respecting its own court's previous decisions, declined to extradite him. This led to a bizarre legal paradox. Bailey was a convicted murderer in France, but a free man in Ireland. Chapter 6. Psychological and media analysis. The case attracted massive media attention, both in Ireland and internationally. Documentaries, podcasts, and news specials dissected every element. Bailey, often willing to give interviews, played a complex media role, sometimes seen as a misunderstood outsider, other times as a manipulative attention seeker. Sophie, meanwhile, became a symbol of injustice. Friends and family painted her as a sensitive, artistic soul whose life was brutally cut short. The psychological toll on her family, especially her son, was profound. Pierre-Louis became an activist for truth and remembrance, pushing both legal systems to not let the case fade into obscurity. The media also explored broader societal themes: the failure of rural policing, the gendered nature of violence, and the flaws in cross-border justice. The case underscored how public trials can be conducted outside the courtroom, in newspapers, social media, and documentaries. Chapter 7. Legacy and Lingering Questions Decades Later. The murder of Sophie Toscan du Plantier remains one of Europe's most confounding unsolved cases. Despite a conviction in France, no one has served time for her death. The murder weapon was never officially recovered. Motive remains unclear. And while Ian Bailey continues to deny involvement, no other credible suspect has ever emerged. The case has inspired numerous documentaries, including Netflix's Sophie, A Murder in West Cork, and the Sky Crime documentary Murder at the Cottage. These projects have reignited public interest, introduced new generations to the tragedy, and kept pressure on authorities. Sophie's family continues to grieve privately while fighting publicly for justice. They have turned their pain into purpose, lobbying for improved legal cooperation between countries and stronger victim advocacy. To this day, the quiet hills of West Cork carry a shadow. What should have been a sanctuary for a reflective artist became a crime scene whose answers remain just out of reach. Whether justice will ever be served is uncertain, but Sophie's memory refuses to be forgotten. That's all for tonight's story. Another thread in the web of true crime, quietly unraveling as the night goes on. If you're still with me, thanks for listening. And if sleep has already taken you, may your dreams be peaceful and your mind at ease. I'll be here next time by the fire with another story waiting to be told. Good night. And don't forget to lock your doors.